I'm Joel Peary. I'm the chairperson of the known associates global companies. We're here just to give you a glimpse of our process, our story process. We have a term, we call it a multi-picture deal with eTV, where we're developing. So the process is that we develop between 5 and 6 feature films a year that we produce that end up so they're licensed to Amazon, so Amazon screens them, and then after Amazon they end up going on eVOD and eTV. So we just want to give you a glimpse. We've invited here some of our filmmakers. I'm going to pass the mic so they can introduce themselves, and then what we'll do is I'll show you some clips of some of the films, and we'll have 2 key subjects I'm going to share with you. John Barker, who directed The Umbrella Man, who's making it's a sequel, so we made the first film that was in Toronto last year. We made the second film, Umbrella Man 2, finished, which is also going to Toronto this year. And so he'll talk about basically the challenges of making a sequel and trying to live up to that. And then we have Alistair Orr, who directed Hunting Jessica Brock, which is a big action film. And we'll talk about the challenge of making a low-budget action movie with VFX and special effects. So we'll focus on those two topics, and then between Marlon and Saves, we'll talk about how the whole thing comes together. So without further ado, I'm gonna then pass on to Marlon just to give an intro.
Good afternoon, everybody. Cool. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a nice turnout. Thanks for coming. I know it's a little bit noisy, but you can put on your headset to be able to hear a little bit more. So I'm Marlon Davids. I'm the Chief Content Officer MD for eMedia, eTV in particular. This is our open view free satellite platform. Are you fetching me? What's happening? I'm being abducted. Hi. This was not planned, by the way. I don't know what's happening. So these films are available on eVOD and also OpenView, so that's why Odie's here. So we've got like Joel said, a deal with Joel and his team. They facilitate various projects for us. We are a business that's content hungry at the moment. We've got an OTT service called eMedia, where these movies normally premiere. But before this window, this free window that we've got, some of these titles also go to Amazon, so for their eSpot service. For eTV itself as the channel, these titles also air on eTV. As we all know, local shows and local films are what drives audiences on television, and we continue to invest in those shows.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, Marlon. So yeah, can you just play the first clip? So this is a promo teaser of the Umbrella Man 2.
Paid $1 million in counterfeit cash. Yeah, counterfeit cash.
It's $1 million used to pay off the debts. They'll take back the gold.
Don't mind money.
General Madams, Fortune Asylum. Tiger Musa. Arresting on charge. Passing and possessing counterfeit currency.
Iemand het hierdie plek ontsnap en oorleef om die storie te vertel nie. Nelson Mandela. Verstaan toch?
Jerome wants to learn Tiger is stuck on an island. I took it up.
Beginning with the cycle.
Die Kuma is nou aan the new management.
You're looking for fun. You want to bust him out.
That is very ambitious.
Isn't it? Gentlemen, what's your bag? Dit lekker seep glad nerves. Jerome says I tell it. Say tell it. Oh, some force.
some to give us some options.
You need the book. That's who we are.
So that's the film is produced by Dan Jowitz and written and directed by John Barker. So Dan and John and Dan, you can play. Just share us the process that what it took for us to do this and make a sequel, especially doing it immediately after we just made the first film.
Thanks, boss. Thank you so much, Joel Perry. Thank you, Marlon. Thank you for having us here today. Just a bit of history. I was trying to make this film for about 15 years and was running around to many producers in the country, and many of them were turning me down. So I was kind of in the wilderness for a long time, and then I happened upon my old friends, Joel Perry and Teresa Perry and Dan Davids, and they really turned around my filmmaking career. It's just amazing to have producers who believe in your project and who nurture the project. The project wasn't great when I first took it to Joel. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was an Oscar-winning script, and because I've been writing it for so long, I was telling myself it was fantastic. And then when I brought it to Joel for the first time, he said, "John, this script is crap." I was like, "I hate you, Joel." And then he put me in touch with a fantastic writer and a team of people, wonderful support, and they've just nurtured the film and nurtured the first film. And then crazy because it took 15 years to make the first film and 2 years to make the next film. So to be making films in this environment, these partners I have here are pretty amazing and have been very supportive. In saying that, there's a lot of pressure in doing a sequel because when you're on set, there's an expectation now. When you do the first film, it's kind of like you're just happy you're making a film, you're happy that you're on set. When you do the second one, I remember Matteo kept turning to me every day and going, "Jesus, this is hectic, yeah? This is hard, eh? This is hard making a sequel." It is really difficult making a sequel, even though we had more time and a little bit more money. Hey, Joel.
Hey, John.
I'm talking about like 10 rand more. I had breakfast. First one I didn't have breakfast, second one I had breakfast.
Dan, maybe I know we've got some of the actors here. Can you introduce some of the cast that are here? And hold on.
So how are you doing? Thanks for coming. We have 2 actors from Umbrella Men 2 and also 1 actor from Umbrella Men 1. So Keenan Harrison, if you just stand up, Keenan. And Sivan Yazzie. These 2 guys are in Umbrella Men 2, major lead actors, and beautiful partnership between them as the guys that escape Robben Island with a bunch of 2 other guys as well. Okay, we're not letting you know whether they escape or not. So one of the things I need to tell you about Keenan though, as KAE, Keenan has been in 5 of our films. So, he's become a leading man from his appearances. He was in Atlantis, Umbrella Men 1, Umbrella Men 2, Snake, 4 films. And anyway, just to let you know that he's not just an overnight wonder. Just to say about John and the sequel thing. The difficulty of making a sequel, if any of you have ever approached such a thing, is that you have to make sure that the audience who is looking at that film is seeing it as though it were for the first time. In other words, you have to make a film that both works as a sequel if you've seen the first one, but if you haven't seen the first one, you've got to be able to see the second one as a standalone film. So that was the big challenge with making Umbrella Men 2, and getting the script so it fitted into a seamless process, but it also stood on its own terms. So for those of you who haven't seen Umbrella Men 2, it stands completely on its own. It's a prison break caper movie. It's a caper. So it's a comedy, okay? But it's also got very serious elements, but generally you will be amused, I hope. And the first one is also, but it's a bank heist caper. So we followed the caper kind of genre, if you know what I mean. So, and working with John Barker, absolute pleasure. And John and I are like, love, hate. And that's all I can say. Thank you for the opportunity.
So I think, can we then play the second clip?
Oops. He's on the way back to camp. I am not getting Shut up! Don't go! Where the fuck is your manners, huh? I need you to believe that, Jessica.
Mom, none of those sick animals are here protected. You're the only animal I need to protect.
Elderly little Jessica's running around.
My job keeps me way too busy.
If you want to go hunting, it's best to know your prey. Let's be listening. Search him. Yeah. My fire got you.
Let my dog go. Or I will kill every last one of them.
So that's Hunting Jessica Brock, directed by Alistair Wall and produced by Zaniso and Nerea Mandem. I'll start with you, Al. Can you just take us through the challenges of shooting this film, shooting at night, and trying to make a low-budget film? I mean, the film looks fantastic, not because we produced it, but I think it looks so. Can you talk us through the process?
I'm trying to be nice here. We're calling it a low budget, but like it's a film that, you know, was a big step up for myself and Harry. We've produced 5 films together before, and I don't think we would have been able to make this film if we hadn't gone to that film school. We're making films on our own. So we try to make action films by ourselves, low budget, like just friends in the woods. It was just about taking that experience and working with those people that were willing to like really give it their all. And then you guys gave us the funds to really make something like that we really wanted to. So we had experience with practical effects. We knew how to work around them. We had experience with VFX. We knew how to do them in a post house. So it was all about scheduling it as tight as possible and what was as realistic as possible to make it work at the time.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what Alan was saying, it's like we come from a very much like difficult, low budget experience of like how do you do something with little to almost no money. In our previous film, just before Hunting Jessica Brock, which is I think how we came to meet you guys, was something that myself and Alistair basically financed on our own, and we tried to come up with an awesome concept and an awesome film that we knew would be marketable to like the public, and that was literally with like no money. And like Al says, I think that was our film school. We figured out how to do certain things with no money, and then we thought, okay, well now if we have money, how can we make it even better? And thanks to Seps and Joel, we managed to achieve that on this one. And I'm I'm really looking forward to sharing it with the world and letting you guys watch this film, because it's really, we've put everything into it. I mean, there was 22 night shoots alone on this film out of 36 days, which I think everybody, we had guys that had worked on Game of Thrones, like the first AD, guys who worked on Warrior, and they were like, this has been the hardest shoot that they've ever been on. They've never done anything like it, but they're all extremely proud of what we've achieved. So I'm really chuffed about this one.
Do you think it was a benefit, the fact that most of the film is shot primarily in one big location? Was that maybe how you can answer that?
It was tough no matter what, because we're shooting in one location, but then it decides to rain for a week,
Yeah.
So it's like, but it was beneficial in the fact that we knew we could pick up things at different times. So we didn't get this scene today, we can do it 3 days time, and we've got some time. So it was beneficial.
And then the fact that the film has a lot of VFX, there's a lot of VFX in the film, and that's just talk about. Does it benefit that because you guys on the refinery?
Look, obviously owning a post facility is a benefit to making movies, but I think from that point of view, like VFX is, everyone knows here, like to do awesome VFX, it's a costly exercise. It's not something that comes by cheaply, especially if you want it done and executed correctly. And Alistair and I were both very wary of that. I mean, this script took about 3 years to develop, where we initially had a lot of CG animals and all of that, and we actually decided to write that stuff out because we knew how costly it's going to be to actually execute it in post. So yeah, there was a scenario actually on set where we obviously had a lot of stunts, and there was meant to be this whole bike flip, and the stunt guy was a bit nervous, and obviously being a producer on set, you need to make sure that safety is taken into consideration here. So the stunt coordinator came up to me and said, look, he doesn't know if this guy can do the stunt, he's scared he's going to get hurt, because as soon as someone interferes. So me and Al had a discussion about, like, how do we do this now with maybe replacing the shot in VFX, because we still needed the shot, because we ended up going down a certain path on the day. And we ended up shooting it as a plate. We just shot the guy basically driving through without any like stunt stuff. And basically in VFX, we're going to basically replace that shot, cut it up, and have him. I don't want to tell you what we're going to have him do, but basically it's going to be replaced in VFX. So yeah, so obviously having that knowledge on set is highly beneficial. Yeah.
Okay. What else? We're going to always have a Q&A, so you guys can ask questions. Can you play the third clip, and then Sebs is going to talk about the challenges of making. We've made 5 films in a period of 6 months. We shot 5 feature films, shooting all over the country, and to see how to put all that together. So please play the next clip, and then Sebs, you can take us through the process.
Wow, why do you love shitty pups?
I've got a nose for corruption in high places. It's why I hired her to make your pattern.
Self-functioning. If not to empower people with the truth.
What makes a highly successful, profitable venture like Project Coast just suddenly stop dead in its tracks?
What are you up to, Stan?
I have someone on the inside. Someone that can set the record straight. You really should be for someone. Nobody cares about history.
In what way have you contributed to the privatization of the business?
Excuse me?
How close are you to his settlement? How do you feel about his lack of accountability regarding the attempted genocide?
You know about spinning around on that journalist.
I'm going to do my job with or without your support.
These people will fucking kill you.
So what was so dangerous that the soldier not personally signs his name on record to prevent someone from testifying?
That's a great fact.
You call me when you find something worth fighting with.
Everyone always says, work from your experience. Learn about things you know and draw from there. You don't need any experience. All you need is an imagination and an obsession for film. Well, I'm actually writing a film too.
Are you kidding? I'm an actress.
Just what is it that you want to do?
Make it a damn action movie if you have to. Shit, that's crazy. The guy's running into our building. The guy comes in through the door, and as he spots us behind the couch, he starts forcing us into the various rooms. Look, I've written up a character analysis for the character.
Fucking asshole.
She's always slamming doors. You can't actually trust anything she says.
I'm a binary reader. I'm a non-smoker. I do drink.
I think he's dead.
Sounds like my kind of girl.
What's that? He drops him. There, it's a back.
I think I'm gonna have a cash gas. How about sex?
Huh?
In your film? Sex.
Sex.
Sex, guns, gangsters.
A Russian diplomatic bag went missing while also in transit.
Where's the money, Tom?
The bag, the money, 4,033 Bitcoin. Fresh price. Already took it with sex.
A lot of shit seems to happen around here. Doesn't it, Tom? This is your last chance!
A huge climax and boom, you've got yourself a hit film.
So that's a sneak preview of our 2024 slates, 5 films that we made. So can you just talk us through the process of trying to keep all of it together, the challenges of making so many films?
Well, I've been shooting 5 films that are overlapping with different directors, with 5 directors and producer partners that keep asking for an extra $1 million. So they go from saying, well, our last film, we made it with nothing. And I'm like, great, it means that we can make a film with a proper budget. They're like, great. And then all I get every day is, can we have an extra $1 million? And I was like, what is wrong with these people? But I don't think that the journey of making a film is just challenges. We all keep talking about challenges, and I don't want young producers to be deterred from making films. I think it's just a journey, and part of the journey has challenges and it has rewards. And I think what was some of the challenges are that you've got 5 directors who each think that you're only working on that film at a time. So they're very demanding and get very competitive because they go, so what are you doing for that other guy? And you're like, I'm giving you the best treatment, but they keep wanting to compare themselves, and yet they want to pretend like they're the only ones working. So that's the difficulty.
I understand why you're doing any other films.
And that was also interesting that when you have producer partners that wanting shitloads of money, sorry for my language, but also they like, you know, I don't have control over the weather. Like, I'm not God, right? So if you've decided to schedule the film, to shoot it at night on a muddy farm, and then the rain comes, I have no control over that. So I get calls like tips, you know, so I'm thinking, we should stop shooting for 5 days. I'm like, are you mad? Like, who's gonna pay for that? So you gotta kind of like, you know, always kind of like navigate the different human beings, the different demands, the different, and at the same time, I've got partners who are saying, are you gonna deliver on time? You know, I keep getting checked. This needs to go on air on this date, and I'm like, yeah, it rained for 2 weeks during the shoot. So I think that's what's been challenging, and of course, having the actual cash to make the films happen. Because I think that for us was challenging. I'm sure you know a lot of you about the challenges of the DTIC. So having to constantly wake up every morning and figure out how you're gonna keep the ship sailing. That can be very challenging. And of course, then you're working super hard. You're away from home. I remember I finally went home one day and my kid was like, "Hi, auntie," and I was like, "I'm your mom." But hey, we do it because we love it.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, I mean, obviously the fact that we have such good partners, I think, without Helga and Marlon and the team at ETV, obviously these dreams would not come true. Because I think we've got a very supportive partner who understands what we're trying to do and giving us a space. They trust us, you have to say. I know Helga will say, "When are you giving me the film? When am I looking at it? I want to play it." Okay, Helga, come. I think this one's going theatrical. So I'm not doing theatrical. It needs to go on eBook. So I think that's a critical thing. I know we're sort of short time, so maybe we can open up for questions. Everyone's got questions. If there's a roving mic, I can give up this one, maybe. And then if people have any particular questions and you want to come, please go ahead and address them to anyone.
Just to ask, are there any female directors of your group?
Yeah, so Snake is directed by so Meg Ricketts, who made Atlantis, which was the first, am I right? It was the first EVOD film, right? It was the first film that we made for EVOD to go out in EVOD, and then she's making Snake. So in our group we've got one. Yeah, we do have a film director, Meg Ricketts.
We have a lot of female directors on our TV series, Bettina, which is also on ETV, but was on SABC, and that production runs over 52 episodes, and we've got in each season we actually always had 2 female directors.
And there'll be in the next slate. Maybe you can talk about the next films. In the next slate,
and in our next slate of 6 films, we've got one called Sis Dolly. I think if you're all South African around my age, you know, like we don't run magazine, you used to have Sis Dolly the Agony, and that's a female-directed film that we're making and written and produced. And in an ideal world, we'd actually like a full female crew on the film. And we've got another film called Shwele, which is an adaptation of a stage play that was written by Motsabi Chelele that's going to be, we're making into a film, and all female directed. And we've got quite a lot of female written, directed, produced films coming up.
As producers, how do you find the sweet spot between getting a budget that works for everybody but not compromising too much on the creative final product that you put out there? Because money in this industry, it does talk, and it is the way a film gets made, so you do need to look at it from both sides. What do you suggest there?
So just quickly, because I know what you're saying, because it is the biggest challenge of all. It's the script. These films that I just did, Snake, Umbrella Men 1, 2, they were developed over 7 years. They were not overnight, sudden, 14 in Charles' case. So it's the script that takes time to develop. And then in the actual making of a film, every dollar, every rand that you spend has got to be spent on something sorry, I was saying every rand that you spend on a film as a producer has got to show up on the screen. There has to be a reason why you spend. If you go over budget, there better be a very good reason.
Yeah, like if it rains, that's a very good reason why you're going over budget. Yeah, but you mentioned something that, Alan and I often had discussions about. You said, like, how do you know when you're not compromising? One thing you must accept when you're making a film from development, you're always going to compromise. And there's at every stage, when you're developing, when you're shooting, and then when you're in post-production. So, yeah, don't get it in your head that you're never going to compromise. It's about how you compromise and what decisions are best for the film in order for you to make that.
At the end of the day, it's also, it needs to make economic sense for the broadcaster. So a lot of the times, when you're spending money on a film and you don't see the quality of it, it doesn't get, for ETV, it's all about eyeballs, and for our EVOD service. So you work with people who understand the budget constraints that there is, but also understand and buy into your vision. They also understand what the channel objectives are. So I believe that's why we've got such a long-standing relationship with this team at the moment, is because they won't come to us with projects that they know won't work for the channel or for the platform, because at the end of the day, if something doesn't work for us, we're not going to invest more money into another production. That's why you can find something like an Gallery 2, because we know that the first one did well, if the second one does well, there might be another one.
Any other questions from the floor? Is there any further questions? Otherwise, we can wrap up the session. If there's anything else to say, we're all here. We're all available. If you need to talk to us, yeah.
And we're looking for more projects.
Yeah. If we've got, obviously there's a process, but if you've got projects that you think will fit in our slate, please feel free to talk to Tsebiso.
And if any of you are looking for post-production services, speak to us.
This guy's on the refinery, which is basically the refinery group, the first sort of group which owns the refinery in Joburg now, and the refinery in Cape Town. They're the biggest post-production company in South Africa, and they do the post exclusively on all our films.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your time.
We break for lunch.